are some players many players that you watch and you appreciate. There are other players you watch and you smile, and that smile is not just a function of appreciation, but also kind of an empathetic reaction to how they play the game. And I think Lindor is the kind of player that makes one smile. But look, we've had one conversation with him and no conversations with his agent. So, we acquired Francisco because of his present ability and the possibility that he could be a Met long term. There's no guarantee of that. It's something that we will approach, in the next few weeks. But at this point, we felt comfortable giving up the group of players we did for both Lindor and Carrasco, recognizing that, Lindor is only under contract for 1 year and Carrasco for 2 plus an option. So we gave up a lot of control for short-term control, but I think we're comfortable with that and what we might be able to do going forward. The exact dimensions of the deal, 1 player, 2 players, shifted over time. I would say the conversations, at the outset, focused primarily on Lindor. I wouldn't say that we ever had long discussions about Carrasco individually, but it was 1 player, 2 players back, and it really was. I think what was happening to some extent was Cleveland was trying to gauge whether it made sense to possibly trade them separately or to keep one and trade the other. And so I think, we always had our eyes on both, but it wasn't clear that Cleveland was interested in trading both in the same deal. I think you have to look at this in the bigger picture. So we gave up 2 prospects that we really like, but they weren't part of our top 6 or 7. If you just look at some of the lists objectively, and in terms of what people looking at this objectively would conclude. So we've said, look, we're not going to trade. We haven't ever said we're not going to trade prospects out of our system, but I think what we've done is we've said to ourselves and expressed to others that we're not moving the top handful of our players, and I think this deal respects that decision on our part. Sometimes perception is reality, sometimes it's not. What we're trying to do is, as you point out, change the reality and let the perception follow. So, we think this is a significant move for us. I don't know that it should have been unexpected. People do get, at some point they get antsy. This deal was, took some time. It was methodical on both sides, and we ended up where we ended up when we ended up. So, but yeah, I think what we're trying to do is create a new reality rather than deal with a perception, and hope that, as I said, that the perception follows. What we do over the next few weeks is, as we've said before, is going to be a function of the marketplace and a function of changing circumstances. And for us to say that we're going to do this or do that. Look, a couple of months ago, we put a lot of emphasis on the free agent market, recognizing that trades would also be a possibility. It's hard to know where things are going to go. I don't know what the top end of the market is at this point. So I think we're going to hold our cards and see where things go. And honestly, I don't know that I could even answer either of those questions today.
Anytime you can add a player like Lindor, it's one of the hardest things in baseball to get. A shortstop, superstar player in his prime, like we talked about earlier, charismatic personality and guy who makes his teammates better. And adding a guy like Carrasco in the same deal, it just lengthens out the rotation. Really kind of gives a different look in our rotation from the other two guys that are in the top half. So yeah, we're excited. It's definitely satisfying. And, like Sandy said earlier, we gave up significant resources to get him, but we're excited about these two. He's a great defender, a great base runner, a great hitter. Very charismatic player, high energy player. I think his teammates feed off of that. I think he feeds off of it too. I think he likes, playing and performing in the biggest moments, as often as he can. And I just think that he's the best way to put it, but he never stops looking to get better and to improve. I think when I called him today I think Sandy had already talked to him. It sounded like he was in a batting cage hitting, in the background. So he's a very hard worker. I believe he's a great teammate. He's someone who leads by example and someone that we think can really, bring things together and be, part of the core of our club. We're always looking to upgrade. I think, just because you're looking to upgrade doesn't mean you're going to force certain things or force certain positions. I think, the best way to round out the roster, in a lot of cases, is players who are versatile, who are strong defensively, who can play multiple positions. It's easier to plug them into the lineup. Perhaps they, dominate one side of a platoon as a hitter. So I would think that, we're going to be looking for good defensive players with some versatility. Doesn't mean you can force that and that, the market's going to come to you. No. When we feel like we do have a solid group right now, but that's how I see kind of the rest of the offseason going with I think that's what you're asking, kind of the depth and the well-roundedness of the roster. McNeil can play, second, third, corner outfield if necessary. JD Davis can play third base, corner outfield if necessary. So we have moving parts. I think it's important to have some flexibility. If you have some positional flexibility on defense, you're able to, make more decisions with leverage, over the course of the season because, more players can fit into what you have. So that's how we're approaching it. I'm sure, as spring training approaches, Louis and his staff will have more specific talks with those guys about where we see them playing most of the time. But right now we feel good about it. Like I said, with plenty of flexibility and versatility. We continue to strengthen our players up the middle. We added McCann, we added Lindor. Always be on the hunt for more pitching, and it never stops. You can never have enough, both starting pitchers and relievers. So, again, we're going to continue to be creative, opportunistic, and see where the market takes us. I don't think there's the word untouchable is dangerous, but I think we view 5 or 6 guys that we're really trying to stay away from. Without naming names, but we feel really good about the top 5 to 6 players in the farm system.